The late summer sun dipped low over the sprawling Montana ranchlands, casting the horizon in blood-red hues as if the heavens themselves knew that something dark was coming, and in the dusty little town of Clearwater Springs, whispers had been swirling for weeks about the return of Jasper Thorne. The man who'd once been the pride of the territory, a cattle baron's son with charm enough to make any woman blush, until greed, lust, and a taste for power had turned him into something far uglier. Years ago, he'd been married to Clarabelle Hayes, a stunning woman with a sharp mind, a smile that could disarm the hardest gunslinger, and a fortune left to her when her father, the wealthiest rancher in 3 counties, passed. But tragedy struck when Clarabelle, carrying Jasper's child, lost both the baby and nearly her own life after an accident that folks whispered was no accident at all, a rumor that grew darker when Jasper disappeared with her dowry and was seen riding south with a saloon girl on his lap. Clarabelle, broken in body but not in spirit, rebuilt herself into something harder than steel, managing her ranch alone, wearing widow's black not for mourning but as a warning. Then, on a sweltering afternoon heavy with the smell of dust and wild sage, Jasper rode back into town, clean-shaven but with the same snake's smile, strutting into her yard as if he owned it, calling her name like they were lovers reunited. Clarabelle, standing on her porch with a Winchester leaning against the doorframe, said nothing as he swaggered closer, hat in hand, spinning some tale of regret and longing until he stepped close enough for her to smell the whiskey on his breath. "I can get you pregnant again," he said suddenly, voice low and desperate, as though offering her some sacred gift, but the words landed like a slap, and in the space of a heartbeat her mind flashed to the nights she'd wept alone, the child she'd buried with her own hands, the betrayal that had left her hollow. Her grip on the rifle tightened, the air between them thick with tension, yet Jasper kept talking, promising redemption, a second chance, as if her womb was a vault he could fill to buy back his sins. She let him talk, let the sun sink a little lower, until the shadows stretched long across the porch. Then, without so much as a warning, she lifted the Winchester, sighted down the barrel, and fired a single shot that shattered the whiskey bottle hanging from his saddle, the glass exploding in a spray of amber and dust. Jasper froze, eyes wide, realizing perhaps for the first time that Clarabelle Hayes wasn't a woman who could be bought, bred, or bullied. "You think I'd let you put so much as a shadow on my doorstep again?" she said, her voice like cold iron. "You took my child, my trust, and my peace, and you're still breathing only because I promised God I wouldn't kill you on sight. But make no mistake, Jasper Thorne, the next time you set foot on my land, you'll leave it in a pine box." The color drained from his face, his hand twitching toward his revolver before he thought better of it, and in that standoff silence the only sound was the cicadas and the slow creak of the porch boards beneath Clarabelle's boots as she stepped down, chambering another round. Jasper backed away, muttering curses under his breath, swinging into the saddle and spurring his horse hard, the dust swallowing him up until he was nothing but a bad memory riding toward the setting sun. In the days that followed, the tale spread like prairie fire, how the rich widow had faced down the man who'd ruined her and sent him running with nothing but a warning and a rifle in her hands. And the men in town, who once thought of Clarabelle as prey, now crossed the street when she walked by, tipping their hats in wary respect. But in the privacy of her home, Clarabelle stood before the small grave out by the cottonwoods, pressing her fingers to the cold stone and whispering to the child she'd never see grow, promising she'd never again let a man's greed touch her life. In the Wild West, forgiveness was a luxury, but justice was a woman in black with steady aim. So if you believe in stories where a wronged soul stands tall, Where bullets speak louder than empty promises, and where the West remembers those who couldn't be broken, then saddle up and ride with us. Hit that subscribe button now, because there are more tales of grit, vengeance, and unshakable will coming, and you won't want to miss a single one.